Hi guys, so today I'm going to be taking a look at the Daimyo Collection Crate and Organizer from the Broken Token for Rising Sun. This box is heavy. Look at this thing, it's huge. There's a lot of stuff in here. It's going to hold everything, including Kickstarter exclusives, including the expansion stuff. It's going to hold all of it in one box and be the box itself, so I can get rid of all these extra boxes and just have one beautiful big box. And I'm going to stain it. I'm going to, shine it up, and we're going to put it together, and I'll do it all with you guys. So let's dive right in.
So first thing we're going to do is crack this sucker open, and wow, look at all of this. This is beautiful. All right, we've got a rules insert here, which I'm definitely going to have to keep very handy. They also have a video on YouTube, so you can check out their own assembly, and I will probably do that. Broken Token actually has a lot of good, oh wow, look at this, look at the detail of these rules. Because there's a lot of stuff here. It's going to take a long time to put this together, no doubt. But they have some great tutorials on how to stain and assemble everything and glue it all together. So you're going to need probably some wood glue, and you don't have to stain it, but I definitely want to. Now, there was a stained version available as well, but I figured I would do it myself. And I'm going to do that before I completely take all this stuff out. So we've got all the rest of our wood here and some foam to make sure things don't rub around too much. So first things first, I am going to be staining this thing. So the first thing I got is I got myself some stain. I went with Espresso 273 Minwax, and I've got some fast drying Minwax polyurethane clear gloss. This will be last. And to go along with that, I also picked up some sandpaper. I have some regular sand, like some 150 grain, but I also wanted some 400 grain for the top, for the final coat. I got some painter's rags, like a 6-pack of those. Very, 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 very important. I picked up some gloves because if you've seen me do any kind of staining or painting or whatever, I get paint all over the place. I'm a total slob. Also, once we're done and we're assembling everything, I'm going to be using lots of wood glue, so I've got that, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I've set up some cardboard over here that I can let my stuff dry on because I don't want to get it all over my table. All right, so I've got some paper laid down, I've got some cardboard laid down, got my gloves on, 2x2 hands of blue, and we're going to stick a rag in here and just get a little bit on here, and we're going to try and go with the grain. You can kind of get a feel for how I want it to be. I'm not going too dark. Now, if you watch some of the guides and stuff that Broken Token has, they'll suggest that for the engraved parts, you'll want to go a little darker to let it really soak in there. And that seems about right so far. But yes, I'm very glad I wore gloves for this. So I'm just basically laying them out to dry as I finish, kind of wherever I can, and starting on the interior pieces now as well. And it's a long process because there's a lot in here. Obviously I'm not going to do the acrylic pieces, but yeah, I'm doing everything. Alright, so I've got everything now stained. I will say this, I regret buying, I thought this was a small can of stain, and I regret getting the whole entire can because I barely used any of it. It's still full pretty much to the top. So you can get a small thing of stain even to do a really big organizer. But I'm liking the way it's come out so far. It's looking good. And I'm going to let this dry for a while before trying to do much else. Alright, so the next step is just laying everything out, and what I've kind of done is I've taken the guide here and I've just laid everything out exactly the way that they have it laid out here. This way I can just reference all the numbers and kind of start putting the clan trays together. Problem is that took up almost my entire tabletop. So, and this white spot over here is those the acrylics. Just want to point out, when you have gloves on, try not to handle the acrylic stuff, because the gloves, while they protected my hands, they still had stain on the gloves. So I got a little bit of stain on the acrylics, but I think that's fine because that's going to be, you know, underneath a lot of this stuff. So not really worried about that, and it can kind of wipe off if I wanted to scrub it. So yeah, we're going to start trying to put some pieces together. So just putting these together. This does take a while because you gotta glue every piece. So one of the things I'm noticing as I'm nearing completion here is that when you're pulling these guys out of the insert, you kind of, you know, you're gonna have a center point, and you have to twist them, you know, before you pull them out, because they're connected slightly at the center. But over the course of doing all this, sometimes I get hasty, and this one I just kind of pulled out, and this is what can happen here, is that you get like a little splinter. Now, if I hadn't stained it, this wouldn't be so noticeable. Fortunately, all I have to do is put a little wood glue on there and then press it right back down, and it'll go right back into it. But I just thought I would share the consequences of kind of rushing when you're ripping some of these pieces out. This has happened to me twice so far, and it's not, honestly, it's me just kind of pulling these out without twisting them. And what I'm talking about is, you know, one of these, right? Like this piece right here. You see, they're connected right here, and if you just rip it out, that's what's going to happen. So you're supposed to twist them like so, left and right, and wiggle them free. And it's not hard to get them out, but as you're doing, you know, dozens and dozens, and I think it's like over 100 pieces or so, over time, sometimes you just get a little hasty, and this is what can happen. So don't do that. All right, so I put the outside box together, and I put a couple of coats of this spray varnish on there. I think I did 4 coats. I did 3 coats, and I sanded each time. I started sanding with like 150 grit sandpaper, and then the last one I did like this 400 grit sandpaper, the purple kind, and then the final coat I didn't sand. It is going to look real shiny that way, or it's looking really shiny that way, but this still has to dry for a little bit longer. This stuff says to let it dry for like for 72 hours before you start using it, so I'm gonna let it dry for a while. So I finally got everything done. I've got all the trays, everything put together. Now I have to start populating it all with all of my Rising Sun stuff. So just to give you an idea, like I've got everything loose in this box, so all my monsters are gonna go in there, and the cool thing is that they're all labeled. So if I don't know what goes where, I'm like, oh well, here's the Oni of Skulls and the River Dragon, and you know, everything is labeled which one it goes on. So that's going to really help. And for my core box, I did a pretty good job of trying to keep it organized. As you can see, I have everything in bags, so I could give somebody a bag with all of their stuff. But I still have a lot of loose things in here, so I have a lot of stuff I need to start went in, no problem. So alright, so mostly everything is pretty much put together. I had a couple of questions on where certain things went, and I've looked at the Broken Tokens videos, and they pretty much explained it pretty well, but there's a couple of things. One thing you're going to notice is when everything is put together, on the the Shinto, sometimes these guys are actually going to come out of here, so you want to try and snap them in really good. You might even want to consider gluing your Shinto to their white bases, because this is holding the insert really well, but it doesn't actually grip the miniature. Similar with the Daimyo. So that's something to keep in mind. For this clan, basically, or for this clan box, it's going to hold everything for, you know, all the plastic bits. Your Kickstarter exclusive bits will fit in there as well. And then if you have the upgraded strongholds, they're going to go in. They're going to fit in like sideways, kind of like that. But it takes a little bit of finesse to get them flush. There are some issues with them because, you know, some of the minis are like kind of wonky. And I noticed this, and like, look, for example, let's look at the dragonfly. Like, look how his sword is out there. So you have to turn him a little bit sideways when you put him in. But that's kind of one of the good reasons why it's open backed on that side. The Turtle Clan was very similar to that. The Turtle Clan was a little tricky because some of their Shinto are so big. You have to turn them a little bit diagonal when you're putting them in there, but after you do that, it's no problem. The turtles are not going to go in there, though. The turtles seem to fit into the turtle tray, and you have to. I had to put my top one in upside down to make him fit just right. It's kind of snug, and let's see what else do we have. Some of the gods in there, you have to kind of turn a little bit to get them or some of the monsters rather. You have to turn them around and move them a little bit to get them to fit just right. The only one I found particularly tricky is the Earth Dragon. Trying to get him in here. Like it seems like that way, but his tail comes out a little bit, so it's gonna kind of push in if you do it that way. So, you know, there may be, but then if you turn him too much, then he's brushing up against the Phoenix, which is on this side. So, you know, there may be like a perfect way to do it, but if I turn the Phoenix too much, then she's kind of hitting Godzilla over here. So you have to, you know, play around with it a little bit just to find just the right way. One other thing I did notice is that in the instructions they give you a certain layout for having like 5 of the clan trays on the bottom, and then 1 monster tray on the bottom, then 3 of the clan trays on the top. And then, but watching the video, they show you having all of the clan trays on the bottom, and then the only monster tray you put on the bottom is the really skinny one, and then you put everything else on top. So, and I like that because it just goes to show that it's pretty modular, and there's multiple ways that you can set it up. So I'm a big fan of that. So let's put everything else in here and put it together. It might be better to put the strongholds in first. Let's try that. Well, that's so much better. Okay, so now put the strongholds in first, and you have much less problem. Trays. And then we're going to put the monster tray 2. I went and put all the extra monster cards in here for that one here. This is actually awesome, by the way. The sliding piece is really, really cool. And these are actually supposed to go in here. They're your little flags. And they fit in there just right. And then your 1, 2, and 3, perfect. At a glance, it didn't look like they would fit, but they fit perfect. All right. So I had left those out when I was, and I got all my mandates, my little, right there. Oh, can we go back in there? Oh, wait, no, because it goes this way. And these are nice to be able to grab it and pull it up. Our coin and Ronins, right there. I've got the large cards for the gods. Not sure exactly where they go because they're too big to fit into the card holders. So that's a mystery. I don't know where they go. They're going to go in a baggie or something, I guess. All right. No, we're going this way. All right. Monster. Monster. Maybe they can go in here, because this is the expansion that they are used with. I bet you they could go behind the gods. Let me see if that will work. I don't know if it's designed for that or if that's the intent. But they can fit in there just fine. So we'll go ahead and do that. Tsukiyomi goes right here. Raja goes right there. Okay. All right. Well, that works. That works well. All right. And then this one right here. So all the monsters are on top. I like that a lot better. So the top part we can put the board on, but the problem is I don't really see myself using the board at all because I've got the playmat, the deluxe playmat, which is in its own thing is much too large to fit inside an organizer. So I guess it's nice to be able to take the board if you want to, because maybe you don't always want to carry a big old playmat. So I mean, it makes sense to at least be able to have it, and then you can fit all your little boards and your instructions and your rules and everything on top of that. And let's see how it fits. We got our Dynasty, all our little inserts. I could probably put all this stuff on the bottom too, to be perfectly honest. Going this way. Moment of truth here. Yeah, I think it would make way more sense to put all the paper on the bottom. This way it's not kind of leaning over the edges. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. Okay. All right. Looks pretty good. Pretty pleased with it. It's not, yeah, little gap right there. I think that might be from the paperwork not really being in all the way. So generally, when I'm using this, I don't know if I will keep the board in here or not because of the playmat. So without the board, probably would be something like that. This way. Now, getting it on top is not super simple. You have to kind of line it up and be a little bit careful because you don't want to slam it shut. There we go. Perfectly snug. It's a heavy box. Feels like it's about maybe 20, 30 pounds, maybe about 25, something like that. But yeah, this is the awesome thing right here. Pretty impressed. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely like it. It took me maybe about six hours of actually assembly. Spread out over a couple of days. I would do this in the evening a little bit, put a little bit more together, put a little bit more together. I think it's great to have a craft project. Like if you like putting stuff together, it's fun. If you don't, this may not be for you. But I'm a big fan of having a little project to go out to the garage and work on and listen to an audiobook while I just assemble stuff or painting or whatever. So all of that worked out well for me. I screwed up a little bit on here and there, like I put a couple of pieces in backwards, and I ripped off a piece there. I was sanded a little too hard on the top and took some of the finish off on the corner. But overall, I think this is very cool. I like the idea that you can just pull out the monsters, and the fact that they're labeled is a big plus for me. I like that, and I like that. My only real drawback here is that the outside of the assembly time for some people, it's not a drawback for me. Is that now I have these awesome storage solutions, but my minis are unpainted, so I feel like now I have to go out and paint my minis. But that's not really a drawback. That's just kind of playing around a little bit. But yes, I like that it's modular. I like that you can either set it up the way the book tells you to, or you can kind of just figure your own way. Because I think that's cool. This is and this is it. You're setting up. Okay, your monsters are already out. If you're using that expansion, and I think this is what you should definitely do. I think you should put the cards behind there. I don't know if it said to do that or not, but that works. That makes great sense. It's a whole lot of extra room in the Lucky Gods box. I don't know what is up with that, but there's extra room. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having extra room. You put one of your turtles in there if you can't make them fit. But you just pull it out like that and you're set up and you're good to go. I like this card tray too because it sorts them all out by all the different types, so you have that all ready to go to. You can be playing in no time, so I am probably having a Rising Sun game night this week, and I will definitely be using this. So Rising Sun Daimyo Collection Crate and Organizer. Very cool. Definitely check out their videos. Their instructions are awesome. Whoever does their videos did a great job of kind of giving you a good tutorial of how to stain stuff, which steps to take, going with the grain and everything. It helped me do this one. I really like the wood grain too. The quality of the wood is really nice. The stain really brought it out. It was a great project. Overall pluses are that
It's beautiful. It's holding everything really nice. The engineering for some of this stuff is just phenomenal. You know, the little things like being able to pull this out this way, or being able to slide, slide this other piece off, and you know, I love some of these things. The downside is that if you don't want to do the work, you know, there's a little bit of effort in putting it all together. So if you're not a big fan of that, then this might not be for you. And it can take some time as well. So if you are in a hurry, they do have an option where they'll have it built for you as well. So, you know, that's going to be a little more expensive to do it that way. But I do definitely like this. This is my favorite organizer yet. And just for comparison, had I not, let me put it back together. I want to show you what an unstained and varnished similar type box would look like, just so you can see, because I have another one. So similar to that, I have the Case for Humanity right here. Now this is a Cards Against Humanity holder that I got from the Broken Token. This was actually, I think, their first ever type of product when they originally launched on Kickstarter. And this one I just assembled and didn't do anything to. And I mean, this is it's a great product. It's, you know, with much thicker wood for the outside to hold everything together. It comes with your little felt things on the bottom so it doesn't, you don't have wood going against it. And I've had this one for a long time, and it's held up just great. But just so you get an idea of kind of how the finish is going to be before and then after, that's about it. Yeah. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out thebrokentoken.com and check out all of their stuff. I think they're a great company. I've gotten several organizers from them. This will not be the last. Thank you. And also, if you're looking for a game that they don't have an organizer for, they have a suggestion box where you can suggest, like, hey, please make one for this or that. I'm hoping maybe once Lords of Hellas finally gives all of its stuff out, maybe they'll do one of that, or who knows. But very, very nice to have everything in one solution. So big fan of theirs. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.